What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to another solo leveling Arise video. Alright guys, we got yourselves a little bit of a special one because a lot of you have been asking the same question in a lot of my live streams, and that is, Payne, what's the proper way to use the ultimate skill combo to get most of this content completed? Now, what you guys are referring to when you guys ask me that question is simply how to use Sonic Stream Magnifying Slashes correctly with the right combination of weapons and how to possibly go through the step-by-step instructions on how to do it. So I'm going to walk you guys through this and we're going to talk about the best ways to get that done. Now, there's a couple multiple versions of this. I'm going to show you my favorite one plus the best weapons to use with it, including the best secondary skill to use to amplify, no pun intended, magnify, amplify, it doesn't matter, the amount of damage you do. So if I go into here, first off, SJW, this is what I'm referring to. This is Sonic Stream right here, this skill right there, and this is Magnifying Slashes. Now, if you did watch my video probably about a month and a half ago, you would have chosen this skill because I recommended everybody to choose this skill as a heroic one. We had a free heroic chest to choose from. Hopefully, if you don't have it and you do eventually get another heroic chest to choose a rune, this is the one you go with. Okay, so you pick the Sonic Stream Magnifying Slashes. It still is the strongest skill in the game, I think, by a pretty long shot, outside of the dark version here of Dispersion, which is the brand new skill. But this one has a caveat to it where you need to actually break the break gauge, or if the opponent doesn't have it, for this to do insane damage. But still, Magnifying Slashes takes the cake as the strongest weapon. Now, the secondary skill, as mentioned, that you want to use with this is either going to be Dispersion, the new skill if you have it. And if you don't have that, you want to go ahead and use Vacuum Wave. Now, the reason why Dispersion works so well is because the combination of weapons I'm going to use here also increases the dark damage. And because this is a dark rune with break, plus does more damage when there's no break bar, this is a shoe-in as the secondary meta. Let's call it the meta, because I think it is the meta. I've seen it do insane damage, almost 25 million with this skill alone when done properly. But let's focus on something that you may already have, and that is going to be the following: Vacuum Wave. Okay, so Vacuum Wave is going to be your next best friend here. This is the combination I like to use, especially now that WOBL Baron is out. That is going to be your secondary combo that you want to go with. Okay, now, a couple of blessing stones that may help you here. The swiftness dash will actually help quite a bit because you are going to be dashing a lot, not only due to Magnifying Slashes activating the mana regen plus the first buff with a proper dash, and I'll show you how to properly dash. And shout out to Ryan for teaching me, because I was messing up for a long time, but also because the combination of weapons you use is also going to require quite a bit of dashing. Okay, and the rest from there you can choose whatever you need. I have Bloodlust, Reawakening, and Boss Lair, and then Survival, of course, doesn't really matter. So I'm gonna lower my screen a little bit here, and you guys can see the two weapons that usually work extremely well with these are going to be the Demonic Plum Sword and the Moon Shadow Dagger. Specifically, the Moon Shadow Daggers in this case with Magnifying Slashes is OP. All right, so I'm going to show you guys how this is done, how to properly utilize this, and where you want to use it most. Now, this combo, and I'm telling you right now, will work on any elemental day on POD, will work on any elemental fight, doesn't really matter. It's still one of the strongest combos. The only time it really faces any form of problems, I guess, is when something is strong against darkness, right? But even then, it still will do better than 99% of your skills, unless you have a legendary version of, let's say, Electric Shock or something. Electric Shock is extremely powerful as well, but we'll talk about that in a separate video. So, Magnifying Slashes, here is how it works. We're going to jump into a quick, since I need to do it anyway, Battlefield of Chaos. Let's do I think green ones. I'm on wave 13. I'll show you guys how this is done, and you guys can follow suit. Okay, I'll do actually just one key for this one, because we go to 15. This is going to be the team. Here is the setup. Okay, we have the Plum Sword and we have the Moon Shadow Daggers. All right, I'm going to try to walk you guys step by step through this, and hopefully it'll make a lot more sense as I'm going through this with you. I'm going to pause and put text where I need to put text, and you guys can follow accordingly from there. Okay, so the first thing you want to know is Magnifying Slashes does require a couple different things. You need to activate it. You can either hold the button down to do the full skill, or you can press it. I like to press it 3 times, and that's what works for me. All right, so let me show you guys real quick how you want to start this. So the first thing you always want to do is use your secondary skill. In this case, that is going to be your Vacuum Wave, right? Now, use Vacuum Wave, and I'll put a text here, is you'll see that there's a red little shield with arrows down. That is going to be your damage increase on the opponent. All right, that's the first thing you want to note. All right, second thing you want to do now is you want to go into your Moonshadow daggers. I'm going to talk real quick about that as well, okay? So going into Moonshadow daggers, there it is. Now, there's a reason why you do this. There is a Lunar Eclipse debuff on the opponent right there. You guys can see the name right there. I'm pointing at it. Now, this increases all damage and dark damage done to the opponent by 15%. Okay, so you're now going to be doing way more damage magnifying slashes. Now this is a very quick debuff. What you want to do right after this is you want to go right into a full bloom with your plum sword. So let's just go into a full bloom. Then cancel that, and then here's how the dashing works. 1, 2, 3. You guys saw 3 right there. So the way I did that, okay, I'm going to slow it down a little bit this time and show you guys. We had the Lunar Eclipse debuff on the opponent, we had the full bloom, which is increasing your crit damage and your crit rate, and then we had darkness increase on damage, and then we did magnifying slashes. So let me slow this down a little bit. I'll do it a little bit more frame by frame for you guys, and I'll put a couple text around it. So here, watch. Moonshadow daggers, okay, dash 1, 2, 3. Okay, that's how that works. So the thing that you need to note about magnifying slashes is the dash needs to complete, and you cannot move after the dash. If you move after the dash, you will actually ruin the entire rotation. It will not take the first buff, only giving you 2 of the buffs rather than 3. So let's do it again. Here it is, Moonshadow daggers. 1, 2, 3. You guys saw 3 140s, right? That's 140 regen of mana every single time. Now, again, if I put the plum sword into this, that's also amplifying the damage, okay? So the rotation is very, very straightforward. The rotation is always going to be Vacuum Wave into Moonshadow daggers into a full bloom, which requires a dash, okay? And then also a dash into your magnifying slashes. Now again, the key element here for magnifying slashes is the fact that you cannot move after the first dash. You have to let the dash fully complete, and the way you know you did it correctly is you'll notice that the 140 MP will be applied. Okay, so let's do it again. We'll do the full rotation here, and hopefully it makes a little bit more sense to you guys. I know this is a lot of things for folks, but okay, 1, 2, 3. See that? There's 3 right there. That's what I mean by you cannot move after the dash, all right? So again, Vacuum Wave into Moonshadow daggers into full bloom into your next skill, right? Which is going to be, in this case, 1, 2, 3. Okay, so you got to make sure. Now you can't sit still either for a very long period of time, because if you sit still during your dash, you're actually not doing the full rotation correctly, and you're going to be ruining the first buff. So it's very important not to move, but also not to stand stagnantly still the whole time, because it will ruin everything that you're trying to do. And we'll do it again in another fight. So let's just do this one more time. And I think if you guys do this correctly, you'll see a crazy increase in your damage for all of you. So here, let's go again, and we'll do it fully. In this one here, we'll do it to the golem again. Okay, so we'll wait till he's done this. Shadow Step, Vacuum Wave into Moonshadow daggers, into full bloom, into 1, 2, 3. You guys saw that? There's all the MP right there. So that's the combination that you want to do. That will work pretty much on every single fight in the game. Every single fight. If you do POD, use these weapons. Use these weapons. The beauty of Moonshadow daggers, of course, is the fact that it also at A5 amplifies your team's damage by 15%. Plum Sword obviously is the ultimate crit buffing weapon in the game, and you don't wanna be without it, obviously, ever. 1, 2, 3. Look how quickly that just shreds the defense, right? And the health is pretty much gone. And this is with a break bar in place. Imagine without a break bar how much faster I would have been able to do this. So keep that in mind, guys. When you are doing magnifying slashes, the key elements is use weapons that's going to boost dark damage, use extra dashes when required, especially if you use Plum Sword. Your dashes are your best friend because you're now amplifying draw as well. And then you're going to just be doing a ton of damage throughout the entire fight, and it'll make everything you do, literally everything you do that much easier for you. So that's how you do it. Again, I'm going to put some text where I need to put text so you guys can see it in the actual video. Thank you guys for watching. If you have any comments or questions, let me know in the comment section. I appreciate you guys. See you in the next video.